So, excuse me, Spencer, Evan. Now, here's the correct answer to the quiz. You know what? I didn't bother showing a lot of work. I did this very quickly off the top of my head, but you should subtract 4x from both sides, which gives you a slope of -4, and the y-intercept remains 12. Now, the one fairly common mistake that I saw was I saw a number of people, I think, try to count each box as 2, but you didn't put the scale on your paper. So how am I supposed to know what's going on there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we got to be a little bit careful about that. I just had this really nasty message on my computer, which I didn't like at all. Oh, good. Hold it. No, it didn't lose the grades that I thought got lost.
Oh, I thought we got them kind of like.
Yeah, like.
Oh, you're getting
Okay. No. I was on a website last night to do taxes for my business, which is the dogs. And I guess I never officially logged out, so this message came up that said, your time session is over. But I lost the page that I was putting in the grades with, but no, they popped back up again once I got to the page, so we're okay. All right, are there any questions about what the correct graph should look like?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I got a -20, and I don't understand why.
What's your y-intercept?
12.
Really? Count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yes, the 12 is off the chart.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, where's your dot?
it's off the chart.
No, it's not, it's on the chart.
No, it's not.
Yes,
It's
it
off the
is.
chart. I just didn't graph it. It's right here. I just didn't draw a line to it.
Your line goes right to the very end. Okay, I just didn't draw a line to it.
So I have to draw a line to it? That's a rule?
It's the y-intercept, it's
Yeah,
on the
but it's
line.
gonna be a bad line. I mean, it's gonna be inaccurate.
Then you just keep going up,
Especially when it's dotted. I mean, that's just gonna be
Spencer. Okay. Any other questions? All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is go over the answers to yesterday's pretest.
At least I got this one right today.
Okay, get out yesterday's pretest, let's look at the answers. Guys, it is the day before a test, and you're more worried about talking about things that don't matter on the test. This is nuts, it's insane. Yes?
Why for number 3 you put -3?
Oh, because I was doing the slope. It would be choice A.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
All right, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 16, 19, 20,
Thought I did that right every day.
23. I'm missing one person. 6, 7, 8, 12. No, I got them all. Okay. Are we good on these first 5? No, which one do I need to go over? Number 3? Okay, guys, listen, I realize that most of you are mumbling and talking about what you got on the pretest, but I do need everyone's attention, or at least if you want to, like, if you didn't get number 3 wrong, then you can pay attention to something else, but you can't make noise while you're paying attention to something else. Now, number 3 says which of these lines is parallel? Sydney, what do you know about parallel lines and slopes? Okay, we now have the first problem. Parallel lines have equal slopes. I think you should write that down. If anybody else didn't know that, that's extremely important. Parallel lines have equal slopes. So, in the question, Sydney, what is the slope of this line right here?
-3.
Good. So now I look at my 4 choices and I look for a slope of -3. Now, you might think that choice C has a slope of -3, but the problem is that -3, it's y minus 3x. It doesn't say y equals. You got to get it into y equals form. However, if you look at the first one, when you subtract the 3x to get it into y equals form, I now have a slope of -3. Okay?
So is the answer A?
The answer would be A, yes. Spencer?
Could the answer also be D?
The answer could also be D, because you're going to end up dividing by -2.
Okay.
All right? Someone asked me before, they said, you know, you've had a couple of these where it's worked out to have 2 answers. The reason is this. Most of the time, the actual questions I put on your test come from actual Regents exams. And then what I do is I make up very similar questions. And in the course of making up questions, it's kind of a speed thing. I don't want to spend forever getting it done. And sometimes I might actually come up with 2 answers. And if this was the real test, you could put either of those answers and get credit for it. But unless something really weird goes on, the Regents doesn't usually give 2 answers to a question. It's happened a couple times over 32 years now, but it almost never happens. And there's been 96 tests in 32 years. And it's only happened that I can think of twice. So realistically, there'll only be one choice tomorrow, okay? Okay, now, next up, these guys down here, 12D and 3 minus 4. You might have put 11 for number 6, but you have to remember, it says find the larger. The larger is the next one, which would be 12. Carissa, did you get 11?
No.
Because that's a classic Grucci right there.
No, I did 12.
All right, from now on, whenever a kid makes a sloppy mistake, I'm going to call it a Grucci.
Okay.
All right? All right. So now let's go to the second sheet. And for this, I changed the scale just a little bit. Or I should say I made the whole graph the first quadrant, which I would suggest, Spencer, which I would suggest doing if I were you tomorrow, okay? You don't have to, but I would suggest, because it gives you a little bit more space. Now, on the 9th day, you still haven't quite broken even. On the 10th day, you're above, but the break-even point means that you're at 0 or you've passed 0, so that you've taken in more money than you've spent out. Ideally, it works out to a perfect point. The fact that it's in the middle means you have to choose the next day. So it's really like 9 point something, but you choose the 10th day. All right, is there any question about how to graph any of those things? We're good? Okay. Now we'll go to scan 3.
No. I didn't get that.
What I would appreciate if you do is try to think about your stuff first before I try to change anything, okay? You're having a conniption, go ahead.
I have the same exact lines as you, except for the solid line for y is less than or greater, or less than or equal to.
Right.
Why'd you shade it above?
I don't know.
Yeah, I also.
I should have shaded below.
I also-
Wait, so is
But
the
wait, a point checked, so hold on,
relaxing?
hold on. Very strange.
My point also checked. I got 0, 0 for my lines. And
Okay, maybe I did something there that was sloppy. I literally did this entire test in about 4 minutes.
Okay.
So,
Wait, so is it not
Yeah.
that area? Is it
listen, hey, shh, can everybody be quiet? On the graph of y is less than or equal to -x plus 4, it should be shaded below, which means you would want to be shading down here.
So would a solution set would
Yeah, that'll affect the solution set. I chose, you guys are costing yourself time here. Look, just so you know a little bit about grading tests, there's this idea of double jeopardy. Teachers should not ever take double jeopardy off on you when you do a test. Sometimes I will on a quiz, because I just got to get them graded quickly. But on a test, I never will. And on a quiz, you're going to take it again, so the grade's going to go up anyway, so I don't care. Can you see that based on the graph I drew, 7 zeros in the solution set?
Yeah.
It's in the double shaded. So if this was your paper, I would have given you credit for 7 0. Because based on your graph, 7 0 is an answer. Okay? But I should have shaded below. So in shading below, it would work out to be 0 0. Now, the thing I'm interested in here.
Wait. Did you get -3 is greater than or equal to 0?
Yeah, there's my mistake right there.
Okay.
Okay? Now, the thing I'm interested in is, did you get the line parts right?
No.
All right, which line part did you get wrong, Sydney?
Both.
Well, look,
Same,
as you
actually.
look at this one here, is it pretty obvious that the y-intercept is 4 and the slope is -1?
Yeah.
So then I touch at 4, down 1 over 1. Okay? And then for the other one, I needed to add x to both sides, and then I need to divide by 3. So I get a slope of 1/3 and a y-intercept of
The wrong direction, that's why.
-3, right. So there's the -3 up 1 over 3. Listen, on a slope, we always go left to right, always. Negative goes down, positive goes up, yes.
To the solution set, you where the lines intersect.
No, it's where the double shaded area is. Listen, the only way where the lines intersect is a part of the solution set is if both lines are solid. A broken line means it doesn't equal it. It comes super, super, super close, but it doesn't exactly equal it. Yes?
I have a little question about slope. Let's, on one of the homeworks, you had us.
Excuse me one second. Evan, Spencer, you're driving me crazy. I'm trying very hard to listen and help out, but your talking distracts me. Don't. I'm sorry, go
There
ahead.
was a slope of 4 over 3, and I don't know, I remember learning it, but I don't remember if, would I be able to move up 4 and to side 3, or would I
Yes.
have to do like 1 point?
No. Do not convert slopes to fractions, to decimals.
Okay,
So just go up 4 over 3, up 4 over 3.
okay.
And there's going to be a pretty good example coming up where you can use that idea to your advantage, and I'll show you that in just a minute. All right, any other questions on this guy? All right, scan 3. Take a look. What's the pre-test number you have right in front of you?
No sé.
Give us an extra help and I still did it wrong.
2D?
Sí, sé.
Okay. Do we have any questions on this first one?
Number 12.
Hold it. We're talking about number 11. Are there any questions on number 11? Janelle.
I'm very confused on what you did. I was anyway having trouble with these types of questions, but, I knew I was gonna get it wrong, but I don't understand how to do it.
First off, did you recognize it as a substitution or an elimination situation?
Yeah.
What is it? Do you use substitution or elimination?
I did, elimination. I tried to do elimination, but.
Well, here's the problem with elimination. If you do that, you're going to need to subtract 2x from both sides and then line up the x's and the y's and the numbers.
Oh, I can't just simply flip over the,
You can't flip.
okay,
There's no simple flips.
okay.
You need to subtract 2x from both sides, then you get negative 2x plus y equals 1. Then you line them up, and then you can go into your elimination method. Okay? But this is one where clearly substitution is the best approach. So what I did was I said this, 1y is worth a 2x plus 1. So when I look above, here's the 3x, here's the minus 5, but when I see the y, I substitute in the 2x plus 1, which is what I did right there. I traded it. And then here's the equals, and here's the negative 19. So when you use the substitution technique, you're going to rewrite the big equation, if you will. The only change you're going to make is you're going to take the one variable that's in terms of the others. In other words, the y is 2x plus 1. I'm going to trade that y in for the 2x plus 1. And then after that, it just becomes algebra.
I get it now, okay, yeah,
All
that
right.
makes more sense.
Okay, number 12, which is your classic elimination problem. Because these are money problems, they don't always work out exactly to the penny. And money is always assumed that you will round off to the nearest penny. Okay? Any questions on number 12? Yes?
I rounded up when I did it, so I got 1.40.
You round to the nearest set. If it was 1.398, $1.40. But I don't remember exactly what it worked out to. But I think it was like 139 and then a number below 5. All right. Okay, any questions? All right. Now we go to scan 4. Now, this question to me, sorry, you had me game. This question to me is either the easiest of the elimination questions or the one where kids get beat up. Now, here's why. First off, look at just the algebra. Forget about setting it up. Can everybody see that this algebra is very, very simple by comparison to the previous one? Because you only have to multiply one of the equations. The problem is coming up with the equations. Now, to me, personally, and look, word problems are something that I had to work at when I was in school. To me, the first equation is an easy equation by comparison. I'm not saying it's overall easy, but it's certainly not overall hard. It says that it's $12 for each adult, so 12A, and it's $5 for each child, so 5C, and a little later in the paragraph, it says that you sell $1,065. Okay? Now, that's the first equation, and to me, that one is pretty easy to come up with. The problem is the second one. If you see it, you're like, man, it's so easy. But not everybody sees it. If you were to go through here and take your paper and cross off everything that we just used to write the first equation. So cross off the $12 each adult ticket. Cross off the $5 each child ticket. Remember, when we worked on word problems, we strongly recommended underlining or circling things. Next, cross off the fact that it was $1,065. Cross that out. Now let's look at the only stuff left. The theater sold 115 tickets for this first showing, and write a system of equations that can be used. How many adult and child tickets were sold? The last two sentences are the directions, write a system, and what you're looking for. How many adult, how many children? What's the only thing that hasn't been used so far in that paragraph? The amount of tickets. Nobody said yet, or no one wrote an equation yet, for the fact that 115 tickets were sold. But here's the problem. It doesn't like say the number of adult tickets and the number of child tickets was 115. You're kind of supposed to realize that on your own. So the second equation, that adult plus child equals 115, is hinted at by the fact that the only thing in that paragraph that you've yet to use is the 115. So you have to use that, you put in the 115, and then it's A plus C is 115. Now, the reason this is so easy is because I only have to multiply one of the two to get them to match. So I distribute a -5, and then I get 7 A's is 490, so A is 70. And then I go back to this equation, and I get C is equal to 45. So the hardest part is remembering about the A plus C is 115. So help me, if you walk into tomorrow's test, knowing that you've seen 2 pretest questions like this, you know there's something like this coming tomorrow. If you don't take the time to realize that you need to do something like A plus C equals 115, you're all smart enough to do that. You have chosen to be lazy and chosen to be unprepared if you make that mistake tomorrow. Any questions? Yes?
Okay, well, I made a really dumb mistake, and my handwriting was really bad. So my 7 looked like a 10, and I got C equals 105. So how many points would I get off for that?
You lose 1 for that. It's worth 6, I think you'd lose 1. Maybe 2, at most.
I thought it was worth 10.
Oh, then you would lose 2 or 3.
Okay.
All right. So now, let's go up to here, and the fish caught problem. They chopped off the numbers on the side, but the graph was labeled. There's a title to the graph. Make sure there's a title or you lose a point. Down here it says hours, and they're listed. And it didn't scan in, but I promise you on the left the scale is listed, and also the fact that it says fish caught or total fish or something like that. And then there is my graph drawn. Yes?
I was confused on that. My graph is, I wrote on the side number of fish caught,
That's fine.
and then, but my graph looks different.
Well, it says that you catch 2 fish an hour for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that means after, is your scale across the bottom the same? Is each box 1?
Every other box is one.
That's why your graph looks different.
But I have two, like.
Yeah, you shouldn't have 2 horizontal points. It's only at one point where it says he stops tying for 2 hours. It only happens once.
And then, but then it said, that when he starts fishing, he catches 3 fish over the next 3 hours, so I thought, like.
It's not each hour, it's 3 fish in 3 hours.
Yeah, so that's why I made it flat.
If you're going up 3 fish, how is it flat? Okay, so there's the answers to yesterday's pretest. Any questions? All right. Now, I had made up my mind that I wanted to find something just in case you finished a little early. This was a question from the last Regents exam, or from either from June's or August. I can't remember which. Write an equation. Hey, don't pack up. Make in your mind or write 2 equations that set up the first paragraph. Question, Spencer.
No, I think I do.
Okay, what's one equation?
3C plus 2B equals 19.
Good. And Anthony, what's the second one?
2C plus 4B equals 24.
Good. And now, is this going to be an elimination or a substitution? Elimination. They're stacked directly on top of each other. So, again, don't be so worried about what things are working out too perfectly. Make sure you set it up and go with it. All right? I will have this lesson up on the website.